Even the smallest person can achieve great things.
Have you ever felt too small for the big wide world around you today? Imagine being no bigger than a human thumb. Welcome to a magical journey where a tiny girl faces giant challenges. Her story is filled with brave choices and surprising friends. Let us explore the incredible adventure of Thumbelina together right now. Learning English through fairy tales makes discovering new words fun and very easy. Today we will read a classic story written by Hans Christian Andersen. This tale teaches us about courage and finding where we truly belong. Listen carefully to the pronunciation and try to repeat the new words you hear along the way. Once upon a time, a kind woman wished for a child. She asked a wise old witch for help. The witch gave her a special barley corn seed. The woman planted the seed in a beautiful flower pot. She watered it every single day and waited for something truly wonderful to finally happen there. Soon, a magnificent red flower grew from the magic seed. The flower looked exactly like a lovely tulip. The woman gently kissed the closed red petals. Suddenly, the flower opened wide with a soft popping sound. Inside the glowing blossom sat a beautiful tiny girl with golden hair and a very sweet smile. The woman named the tiny girl Thumbelina because she was only the size of a thumb. Thumbelina slept in a polished walnut shell. Her mattress was made of soft blue-violet leaves. Her blanket was a delicate pink rose petal. She was the most precious little girl the woman had ever seen anywhere. During the day, Thumbelina played on the table. The woman placed a plate of water decorated with colorful flowers there. Thumbelina used a large white tulip petal as a boat. She rowed across the water using 2 white horsehair oars. She sang beautiful songs with a voice as sweet as a silver bell. One night, a large, ugly green toad hopped through an open window. The toad saw Thumbelina sleeping in her walnut shell. The toad thought the tiny girl would make a perfect wife for her ugly son. The toad grabbed the walnut shell and jumped back out into the wet and muddy garden outside. The toad carried the sleeping girl to the edge of a wide river. She placed the walnut shell on a large green lily pad in the water. When Thumbelina woke up the next morning, she saw the water all around her. She began to cry because she could not reach the dry land. The ugly green toad returned with her son. The son was just as ugly as his mother. They brought yellow water flowers to decorate a room for Thumbelina in the mud. The toad told the little girl she must marry her son. Thumbelina cried even harder because she did not want this marriage. The little fish swimming in the river heard Thumbelina crying softly. They popped their heads out of the water and saw the beautiful tiny girl. They felt very sorry for her. The kind fish decided to help her escape from the ugly toads. They gathered around the thick green stem of her lily pad. The little fish chewed through the green stem with their sharp teeth. The lily pad broke free and floated down the river. Thumbelina sailed far away from the ugly green toads. A graceful white butterfly fluttered down and landed on her lily pad. The butterfly liked the sweet tiny girl and kept her company. Thumbelina took her silk sash and tied one end to the white butterfly. She tied the other end to the lily pad. The butterfly flew forward and pulled the little leaf much faster down the river. Thumbelina felt very happy to see the beautiful green trees and bright flowers passing by her little boat. Suddenly, a large brown beetle flew down and grabbed Thumbelina around her tiny waist. The beetle carried her high up into a tall green tree. The poor butterfly was left tied to the lily pad. Thumbelina felt very sad for the butterfly, but she could not do anything to help her new flying friend. The brown beetle fed Thumbelina sweet honey from the flowers. He told her she was very pretty even though she did not look like a beetle. Soon other beetles came to visit them in the tree. The female beetles looked at Thumbelina and said she was very ugly because she only had 2 legs. The first beetle listened to his friends and decided he did not want Thumbelina anymore. He flew down from the tree and placed her on a white daisy flower. Thumbelina cried because she thought she was too ugly for anyone to love. She did not know she was actually the most beautiful girl alive. Thumbelina lived all alone in the large forest during the warm summer. She wove a tiny bed out of strong grass blades. She hung her grass bed under a large green leaf to stay dry from the rain. She drank sweet nectar from the flowers and drank fresh morning dew from the green leaves. The summer passed and the chilly autumn arrived. The birds flew away to warmer places. The colorful flowers withered and dropped their soft petals. The large green leaf above her bed dried up and curled into a yellow crunchy stick. Thumbelina felt very cold because her thin clothes were torn and completely worn out. Then the freezing winter came to the forest. The snow began to fall from the gray sky. Every snowflake felt like a heavy shovel of snow to the tiny girl. She wrapped herself in a dry brown leaf, but it did not keep her warm. She shivered and walked slowly through the cold snow. Thumbelina wandered out of the forest and found a large cornfield. The corn had been harvested long ago. Only dry, bare stalks stood in the frozen ground. She walked through the stalks and found a small hole in the dirt. This hole was the warm home of a kind old field mouse. Thumbelina stood at the door and begged for a small piece of barley. The field mouse felt sorry for the freezing tiny girl. The mouse invited Thumbelina inside her warm, cozy home. The mouse told Thumbelina she could stay for the whole winter if she cleaned the rooms and told wonderful stories every day. Thumbelina gladly agreed to the deal. She swept the dirt floors and kept the tiny rooms very neat. Every evening, she told the field mouse amazing stories about the bright sun and the green forest. The field mouse enjoyed the stories and gave Thumbelina plenty of food to eat during the cold, dark winter. One day, the field mouse told Thumbelina they would have a visitor. The visitor was a rich neighbor who lived underground. The neighbor wore a beautiful black velvet coat. The mouse said this neighbor would make a perfect husband for Thumbelina. But the neighbor was a blind mole who hated the sun and flowers. The rich mole came to visit them. Thumbelina sang a beautiful song for him. The mole fell in love with her sweet voice. He dug a long, dark tunnel connecting his home to the field mouse home. He told them they could walk through the tunnel safely whenever they wanted to visit him there. The mole warned them about a dead bird lying in the tunnel. Thumbelina held a piece of glowing wood to light their way. They found a beautiful swallow lying on the cold dirt floor. The bird had closed his eyes and tucked his head under his wing. Thumbelina felt very sad for the bird. Thumbelina loved all the little birds who sang for her during the summer. She secretly returned to the tunnel that night. She wove a warm blanket out of soft hay. She gently covered the silent bird with the hay blanket. She leaned down and kissed the bird on his soft feathered head to say goodbye. Suddenly, Thumbelina heard a steady beating sound. The bird was not dead at all. He was only frozen from the cold winter air. The warm hay blanket helped him wake up. The swallow opened his eyes and thanked the kind tiny girl. He promised to repay her kindness when his wings were strong again. Thumbelina cared for the swallow all winter long. She brought him fresh water and seeds every single day. The mole and the field mouse never knew about the hidden bird. When the warm spring finally arrived, the swallow was ready to fly away. He asked Thumbelina to come with him to the green forest. Thumbelina wanted to go, but she knew the field mouse would be very lonely. She told the swallow she had to stay behind. The swallow thanked her again and flew up through a hole into the bright sunshine. Thumbelina watched him fly away and felt a deep sadness in her tiny glowing heart. The field mouse told Thumbelina she must prepare for her wedding. The rich mole wanted to marry her at the end of the summer. Thumbelina had to spin thread and sew clothes all day long. She hated the dark underground tunnels. She wanted to feel the warm sun and see the beautiful, colorful flowers. The summer ended and the wedding day arrived. The mole planned to take Thumbelina deep underground where the sun never shined. Thumbelina walked out of the mouse hole to look at the bright sun one last time. She hugged a small red flower and cried because she would never see the beautiful sky again. Suddenly, she heard a familiar chirping sound above her. The swallow flew down from the blue sky. He saw Thumbelina crying and asked what was wrong. She told him about her terrible marriage to the blind mole. The swallow told her the cold winter was coming and he was flying to warmer lands soon. The swallow offered to take Thumbelina with him this time. He told her to climb onto his back and tie herself to his feathers. Thumbelina agreed immediately. She climbed onto the soft feathers and tied her silk sash securely. The swallow flew high into the sky and left the dark mole tunnel far behind. They flew over tall mountains and wide blue oceans. Thumbelina saw ancient castles and deep green valleys. When the air grew cold, she hid under the warm feathers of the swallow. She only peeked out to see the wonderful sights below them. She felt completely free and incredibly happy on this amazing flying journey. Finally, they arrived in a warm, sunny land. Beautiful flowers grew everywhere and sweet fruits hung from the green trees. The swallow flew to a ruined white marble palace near a calm blue lake. He placed Thumbelina gently on a large white flower petal. He told her she could choose any flower for her home. Thumbelina chose a magnificent white flower as her new home. When she stepped inside the flower, she saw a tiny man. He was as small as Thumbelina and completely transparent like pure glass. He wore a tiny gold crown on his head and had beautiful shiny wings on his back. He was the Flower Prince. The Flower Prince was very afraid of the large swallow, but when he saw Thumbelina, he thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world. He took off his gold crown and placed it on her head. He asked her name and asked if she would be his wife and the Flower Queen. Thumbelina smiled brightly at the handsome prince. This prince was much better than the ugly toad or the blind mole. She happily said yes to his proposal. Suddenly, tiny men and women flew out of the other flowers. They brought wonderful gifts for their new queen to celebrate the happy wedding day. The best gift of all was a pair of delicate, clear wings. They fastened the wings to her back so she could fly from flower to flower. The prince told her she would no longer be called Thumbelina. He gave her a beautiful new name. He called her Maya, the Queen of the Flowers. The swallow sat high in a tree and sang his best songs for their wedding. He felt very happy to see his kind friend so joyful. When the spring came, the swallow flew back to the north. He told the story of the tiny girl to a man who wrote it down for everyone. The story of Thumbelina is a wonderful tale about patience and kindness. Thumbelina faces many difficult situations, but she never loses her gentle heart. She helps the freezing swallow even when she has very little herself. Her kindness to the bird eventually saves her from a dark and very unhappy life underground. Learning English through this fairy tale helps you understand descriptive words. Words like tiny and beautiful and freezing paint clear pictures in our minds. When you read or listen to stories, try to imagine the scenes vividly. This visualization makes remembering new vocabulary much easier and a lot more fun for your brain. Notice how the story contrasts light and dark. Thumbelina loves the bright sun and the colorful blooming flowers. The mole and the toad live in dark and muddy places. This contrast teaches us to seek environments where we can truly grow and be happy. Always look for the light in your own life. Thumbelina also teaches us about the importance of true friendship. The fish help her escape the toad. The butterfly keeps her company on the river. The swallow carries her to safety. Good friends support each other during hard times. Building strong friendships is a vital part of a happy and very successful life. Courage is another important theme in this magical story. Thumbelina feels afraid many times, but she keeps moving forward. She survives alone in the cold forest and bravely escapes the underground tunnel. Practicing a new language also requires courage. Do not be afraid to make mistakes while you are learning to speak English. Every time you learn a new English word, you are growing stronger. Just like Thumbelina finding her wings, you are finding your voice. Keep practicing your pronunciation and reading stories out loud. Share these fairy tales with your friends and family. Learning together makes the educational journey much more exciting and very rewarding. We hope you enjoyed this beautiful story of Thumbelina today. Fairy tales are a fantastic way to improve your English listening skills. They introduce classic vocabulary in a memorable and engaging context. Remember to review the new words you heard and try using them in your daily conversations with other English learners. If you want to hear more amazing stories, please subscribe to our channel. We create new videos every week to help you master the English language. Leave a comment below and tell us which character was your favorite. Did you like the brave swallow or the handsome flower prince the most in this tale? Practicing English every day is the key to fluency. Watch this video again and try to pause the story after each sentence. Repeat the words exactly as you hear them. This shadow reading technique will greatly improve your accent and build your speaking confidence. You will sound like a native speaker very soon. Thank you for joining our Fairy Tales English journey today. We are thrilled to be part of your language learning adventure. Keep believing in magic and keep believing in yourself. You have the power to achieve your goals and speak English perfectly. We will see you in the next wonderful story video soon. Have a wonderful day filled with bright sunshine and beautiful flowers. Remember that even the smallest person can achieve great things with a kind heart and a brave spirit. Goodbye for now and happy learning. We look forward to sharing another magical fairy tale with you very soon on our educational channel.